welcome to an Everyday Canines video. In this episode on running contacts, we are adding in a sequence. So we've done a lot of work just on the dog walk on its own. Now, this is going to be dependent on how many sessions you've done with your dog and how many has been necessary to get that obstacle. Once you're had a couple of sessions of success with your dog just doing the full obstacle with the treat and train nearby and setting them up from there, we need to start putting it into a sequence. Why do we need to do this? If we spend too much time on the dog walk in isolation, and I've done this, then the dog doesn't understand its context in a sequence. What can then happen is potentially the dog doesn't pick it up when it's coming from a jump or another obstacle to go over it. But more importantly, and what I found happened a lot, is the dogs are expecting the reward as they come off the dog walk. So they slow down, they look for it, they don't power forward. So we need the dogs to understand that this becomes part of a sequence, and they might not get rewarded immediately afterwards. In fact, they probably won't. Once we get into courses and stuff, yes, sometimes the dog walk is at the end, but there's always a jump to finish on. So they've got to at least do one jump before they get a reward. And obviously when we get into other courses, this is going to be part of a middle part of a sequence. So it might be several obstacles before they get a reward. And I actually found with Swift that, and I've had it this season, so it's something I'm having to now work on. She was okay if there's just one jump, and then she'll go out and get a reward. So if it's at the end of a course, if it's at the middle of a course and she's then got to carry on and do several obstacles, she started to get a bit argumentative because I've done my dog walk, I've done a jump, why aren't I getting rewarded for that? Why am I now expected to do more? So this is all something we've got to think about. It's not enough just to train the dog walk on its own. So I have got a jump set at that end, set at 5 meters. That is going to be my start point. So instead of asking my dog to sit and then ask them to run up the dog walk, what I'm going to do is send the dog to the back side of the jump, take the jump, and then come onto the dog walk. Now, if you haven't got a very good round the back cue, it's not strong enough or it's not independent enough, then you could obviously set your dog up in a sit 5 meters beyond that jump and lead out. The reason I'm doing that and sending there is because that way I can be, for me at least, I can be quite a way down the dog walk. This means that I can then watch the contact here, because that's obviously important. I need to be able to see what's happening on this contact. Then I have my jump at the end. Now, this is really important, more important than that jump, because we've been using the treat and train as a lure. And when you've got a lure, and that's a powerful lure, you have to then remove it from the picture, and that can be hard. So I'm adding in the jump, and the jump is going to take the place of the treat and train as the lure. With the treat and train out there and always now getting my dog to run down and take a jump before they're rewarded, this then becomes the picture. It's the picture, you know, I'm transferring the value from the treat and train, if you like, to that jump. I have to do that jump before I get my treat and train. And in actual fact, I rarely do anything with Swift now on the dog walk without her doing the jump after it or some obstacle after it. Because otherwise, if I start going backwards and just rewarding the down without the jump afterwards, then I start to get slowing down, I get head checking, back behaviour, and she stops driving on. It's just one of the things. So I always reward. That becomes part of the picture now. Even if that's all I do, there's always that jump there. The treat and train is several meters out for about 3 out from the jump. Again, so the dog actually has to power off. If it's too close, the dog is just going to hop over. I want the idea to be that my dog is powering down this line, powering through. Imagine this is that last bit on a course. You want them to power through, get that contact, and get out, go over the last jump to finish that course. And I have to say, having done this, those end sequences, which used to be my nemesis, have gone from being my, oh, I hate having the dog walk last, to, yes, the dog walk is last. This is fantastic because I know Swift is going to power down the line, nail her contact, and get out. So, you know, it just goes to show how you can proof these things, and they changed to being something that was to something that was yes. Right, so let's get Swifted. Swift! Good girl. So we've done a lot of work with her, so I'm just going to show you a couple of times, good girl, what this is going to look like as a sequence. Okay, ready? 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 Viva, 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 viva. Run! Go! Good girl! And again, notice that I wasn't part of the picture. I wasn't using my arm. I was over there somewhere. I'm trying to remove myself as much as possible so that it doesn't become vital for me to be near my dog to get a contact. Good girl. Let's try it from this way. Okay, you ready? Viva, viva. I know there's poles right near, weren't they? Ready? Viva, 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 viva. Run. Go. Beautiful. So you see, the dog walk is now part of a bigger picture for Swift. She is not worried that, good girl, she is not thinking about to herself, I've got to stop and wait for my reward. She knows to power on and power through, and that is what I need. I could obviously set this up if I had a room, I could set up another jump. I'd quite happily do that and set the manners minder behind it. So she's now got to do 2 jumps. You can set now to have a tunnel there. All these things you can start to do, building up the understanding of how you do your dog walk. There's one other thing I want to mention. When they've got a jump like this, you will find with smaller dogs, unfortunately this is not so helpful for your big dogs because the pole's higher, but for smaller dogs, because that's the pole, as they're coming down, they look at the pole. And when we want our dogs to run through, we want them to be running through with a head down motion, because that is a better way for them. That's more likely to get the contact. So when the jump is there, at 5 meters at least, when it starts to get further back, it gets iffy, but 5 meters, I actually find it helps to pull them down and get that lovely contact. As I say, it doesn't help so much with big dogs because the pole is higher. But with little dogs, that is a nifty dandy trick to getting them down. So in the next video, I'm going to discuss how we get rid of that treat and train altogether. And then we'll move on and we can start looking at some more complicated things to do with dog walks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, you might subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you press the bell icon, that will give you notifications of when new videos are coming out. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.